You wake to the insistent hum of your phone on the bedside table, 3 missed calls glaring at you in the dim room. Gray light seeps weakly through the half-open blinds, outlining the corners of your cluttered nightstand. The screen's blue glow pulses faintly. You don't recognize the number. Your thumb hovers over the call log longer than it should. 3 calls. 3. The mental arithmetic clicks in your head. It's your birthday. 33. That number again. It appears like a ghost in every family story. You swipe away the thought. Your throat tastes metallic and sour. Coincidence. It's just coincidence. Before your mind can protest, the phone vibrates again. The same number. The sound feels sharper now, crawling under your skin like an insect. Against better judgment, your trembling finger presses the green button. A voice crackles through the receiver, not quite human, not quite electronic. Its pitch wavers unnaturally, words slow and evenly spaced, as though someone had ripped speech apart and stitched it back together. Latitude, 40 degrees, 19 minutes, 14 seconds north. Longitude, 79 degrees, 25 minutes, 40 seconds west. Your chest tightens. There's no explanation, only coordinates hanging in the air like a noose. Geography drills from childhood leap to mind. Degrees, minutes, seconds. Precision to the decimal point. Too exact, too deliberate. The voice clicks off abruptly, leaving static in its wake. You stare at the black screen until it shuts itself off. The number vanishes with it. At the kitchen table, the coordinates sit like stains on the paper you've scrawled them onto. The tip of your pen hovers, as though reflex might overwrite them, might change their meaning. The numbers twist the longer you stare, creating a pattern you don't understand but instinctively distrust. 40, 19, 79. You mutter aloud, the syllables foreign in your own voice. The repetition doesn't clarify anything. It breeds unease. Something in their precision gnaws at you. The location could theoretically pinpoint a spot smaller than the edge of a countertop. A specificity so sharp it suddenly feels inevitable. They're familiar, you realize abruptly, though you can't place why. You've heard them before somewhere. But where? The number stories. Your stomach twists. Isn't this where every tragedy begins? You should forget the call, but you won't. You already know. That precision isn't random. It's a hook in your ribs pulling you towards something darker than reasoning. You fold the paper. You need to be sure. The coordinates nag at you like a splinter, driving you toward a stack of old albums and stories buried in their pages. Across your living room, the desk lamp flickers erratically, weak, yellow light smearing over the curled spines of family books. Dust hangs in motionless streaks, caught in the lamp's glow like suspended time. You're seated cross-legged on the rug, album number 3 open across your thighs. You turn a reluctant page, the brittle plastic protector crinkling softly. A face stares back, a distant cousin's memory frozen in faded ink. Beside them, unfamiliar ruins dominate the frame, steel beams jutting upward at severe angles, partially collapsed walls eaten by ivy. The picture doesn't belong in the album's cheerful lineage of picnics and weddings. Suddenly, no, you stop yourself. Not suddenly. You notice. The handwritten caption underneath the photograph. November 3rd, 1948, last photo before the disappearance. Your breath halts, nose filled with the album's mildewed scent. The ruins, it's the shape of them, isn't it? You flick your eyes back to the other page, the printed coordinates still gripped in your left hand. You compare mentally. Their structure matches. You have seen those beams in your mind before now. Unsettled, you shut the album quickly, the sharp smack of its cover reverberating through the quiet room. Your hands shake once, involuntarily, a reflex you've carried since childhood. Family stories start pouring in unbidden now, fragments of bedtime talks or overheard whispers anchored to your ancestry like rusted chains. Great-uncle's eerie behavior, muttering numbers under his breath toward his last days, claiming the stars speak coordinates. Another aunt, reportedly fine one day, missing the next, leaving behind a scrawled note mentioning industrial fields in Pennsylvania. Your lips tighten as unease grates against reason. These alignments shouldn't be possible. Logical fallacy, right? Coincidence. But everywhere you turn tonight says otherwise. Before you move, the desk creaks faintly behind you, wood shifting somewhere inside itself. You spin. No one moves anything. Yet carved there, impossibly deep into the old oak surface, are the coordinates. Numbers burned into memory. burned into the heirloom itself. The gate looms before you, rusted but standing firm as though defying the years, its design eerily foreboding. The archway twists with curls of oxidized iron, corroded yet intricate, as though someone once poured obsession into welding their secrets here. The metal feels alive, almost deliberate, as your flashlight lands on it, carved and pitted with symbols. Not graffiti. These aren't random scratches or letters scrawled by bored hands. These are crystalline, winding patterns formed with precision. Symmetry so cruel it pulls at something involuntary, your stomach, your pulse, your feet refusing to step closer. One vortex-like shape sits dead center on the gate, faintly vibrating in the dim beam of your light. You draw closer, squinting to make sense of it. It's not just rust, it's etched deep into the metal's flesh, the grooves darkened by decay and something darker. A burned black, not unlike the coordinates on the desk. Visual, spirals carved into pockmarked rust, their edges sharper than the corroded surface should allow. You reach out. Why? That's a question you can't answer, even to yourself, as your palm brushes the surface. Cold. Not the cold of autumn air, but biting, spiteful metal frost that latches onto your bones. You jerk your hand away, stagger back a step, and the gate groans, not from your touch, from itself. The noise rips through the stillness, vibrating in your eardrums, pressing against the inside of your brain. You freeze, expecting. What? Something, someone. But the sound doesn't echo away, it lingers, everything around you resonating with its pitch. A long metallic exhale that seems to pull air from your lungs. The hinges creak on their own, the gate dragging itself partway open as though inviting or demanding you enter. A narrow gap yawns. You don't step forward. You can't yet. But you don't leave either. Your shoulders tense, your throat tightens, and there's no logic strong enough, no rationale clear enough, to override the feeling that turning away is wrong, is worse. The wind picks up around you, squeezing through the trees and twisted steel remnants like a whistle. Low, mournful. It pulls you one step closer to the gate. Your footsteps echo louder than they should as you step into the cavernous, silent warehouse. It's not empty. Space like this never feels empty. The machinery, rusted and looming, might as well be the building's skeleton crumpled in on itself, hunched over like an industrial corpse. Slabs of concrete litter the floor, cracked and displaced as if ripped apart from below. Shafts of light cutting through thick dust motes, scattering over collapsed beams and jagged steel edges. The dead mill waits. Your breathing grows shallow as the sour tang of the air registers fully, mold married with machine oil and something worse. There's a cold dampness here, thick and clinging, almost palpable as it worms down your neck. It feels impossible. Claustrophobic, too close despite the open space towering above. You sweep the flashlight beam ahead. Corners filled with debris swallow the light greedily, refusing to return it. The dense shadows seem alive, writhing in faint flashes at the edges of your vision. Except, wait, you saw movement. Your chest tightens as you swing the beam back, a sharp snap of your wrist that sends tremors through the flashlight, spilling its weak circle of light across the space like a trembling heartbeat. Nothing moves. The corner holds, silent, empty, still, but not still enough. You tell yourself it's probably the dust shifting, the warehouse settlement cracking, but you're already replaying the half second in your mind. The shadow bent too sharply, moved too quickly. You imagine who or what might have been standing there. Stop. Hyper-rationalize. You force your logic forward like a shield, even as sweat prickles at your temple. Then a scrape. A soft sound like metal dragging lightly across stone. Your flashlight beam snaps upward again, this time to the rafters. Thick industrial beams rot up there, their rusted edges flaking like diseased skin, but nothing waits in their dark crosshatches. Yet that scrape lingers in the back of your skull, replaying. Scrape, rush, stop. Your feet carry you deeper without permission, every step crunching brittle shards of splintered glass and corroded gravel. The air thickens as you move toward the mill's main floor, a curdling sense of being watched hanging on your shoulders despite the emptiness. And then the wall. It's more intact here, one of the few upright structures holding form under decades of disuse. A concrete flank streaked with yellowed water stains and invasive moss. At first it looks mundane, just another ruin in the backdrop of forgotten industry. But as you step closer, a detail emerges, freezing the breath in your throat. there's a photo. Warped and stained around the edges, its colors browned with time. A small nail driven crudely through its top binds it to the wall. You wipe at the surface, finding faces beneath the grime. A crowd stands in black and white, a family posed in stiff lines. At first, you don't recognize them. Some older than others, two adults bookending a semicircle of slouching children. Their expressions are hard to read, but something nags at you. Something in the sharpness of their grim mouths, the hollow depths of their eyes. And then your stomach flips. One face, smaller, tucked toward the edge of the group. It's too familiar. The way the nose slopes sharply. The same angular curve of the jaw. Your own face stares back at you, eerily younger but unmistakable. You stumble backward, your legs refusing grace, the photo imprinting itself like a brand. Breath catches hard in your throat. Then, the wooden floor shifts beneath you like something exhaling from underneath. The stairs creak in protest under your weight, and you descend into a dank chamber that feels suspended outside of time. Each step vibrates faintly, amplifying the oppressive hum that grows louder, swelling in waves directly beneath your feet. Your breathing reduces to shallow gulps. The air is wrong, heavier, wetter. You grip the railing, slick with an oily residue that leaves marks on your fingers, something between grease and sweat. Your hands tremble but won't let go. The final step collapses into a dirt-packed floor, gritty and uneven. Ahead, the chamber opens wide, wider than it should. A half-circle of towering, rust-caked machinery stands unmoving, flanked by drooping cables and corroded pipes that slither down walls like veins. Pale moss stretches across the concrete in patches too perfect to be natural. The yellowed light from your phone paints the room dimly. The shadows shift unnaturally, as though alive. The hum climbs into a sharp whine. Your eyes dart, looking for its source. It feels alive, pulsing from every inch of the walls, matching the faint rhythm of your heart. No, not your heart. Something else. It wants you to hear it. You inch forward. Every step feels too loud, crushing bits of gravel and glass beneath your feet with tiny implosions. Then a glint, metal etched into the surface of the largest machine. You crouch closer, wiping away decades of dirt and grime until faint marks emerge. Coordinates, etched in perfect sequence. 41 Gr5 6.9 N, 80 degrees 20 54.3 W. Familiarity knots your stomach. It's the same engraving you've seen before, your family's birthright. The series of numbers tattooed into the story of every disappearance, like this place had waited for them, waited for you. Your fingers trace the numbers, skin catching on the grooves, movement, a flicker in the dim corner of your vision. You snap your head to the side, nothing there, just the emptiness swirling into black. Then another flicker, faster this time, overhead, and another beside a rusted steel beam. Blurred shapes disturb the air just briefly, like moths spiraling near flames that don't exist. Tight pan, spectral movements, cutting through empty space, barely perceptible but undeniably human-shaped. No, this isn't anything. You stand, shaking your hands compulsively, as if the movement alone can shake this moment loose from reality. You reach for your phone, for the connection to reason. It dies. Screen black. Darkness rushes inward. The hum deepens into a guttural roar. Something creaks to life. You freeze as gears buried in rust begin grinding. Metal grinding against metal, impossibly loud, shaking the room. The great machines, inert for decades, responding to you. You step back, but the air presses against you. It feels alive, thick and heavy, sentient. A shadow sweeps past your feet, barely a wisp but unmistakable. You're not alone. Pull quote. Their faces emerge in the stillness. Mine, not mine. A line of ghostly figures rises, heads bowed, shoulders hunched, stepping out from the heartbeat of the machinery. Transparent shadows flickering in and out as if tethered only loosely to this reality. They align themselves in a perfect arc around the coordinates machine, all facing it. All copies of your family, your father, his father, back further. Ancestry tangled in their limp expressions, your jawlines. Empty sockets where their eyes should burn. You press against the wall. The peeling paint flakes on your back like ash. No screams, no shouts, just silence, except the machinery's rhythm, a chant in metal, pulling every living thing into its rhythm. Then they move, together, slow, deliberate,